I noticed you were looking at that when I came in.
Yeah.
It's an antique polygraph machine.
Is that what that is? Because I've seen these before, but I never saw one actually up close.
I own a company called the Amherst Group, and we do private investigations. We specialize in corporate investigations and polygraph exams. The bulk of our work, of course, is polygraph. When someone tells a conscious lie, in other words, if I tell you a story and I know what I'm saying is untrue, the first thing that happens is that the body will inject a shot of adrenaline into the bloodstream. From that point on, there is just an amazing amount of changes that take place in physiology. Some of them are very subtle, some are very dramatic. But of course, when you're looking at a polygraph instrument, it's all dramatic because these things are all electronically enhanced. So even the most subtle response, deceptive response, will show.
Relax, relax, the needles are jumping.
Your breathing pattern will change. Blood pressure will increase. And then, of course, then it decreases, and you can see this on the chart as it comes up and then comes back down again. Rate of perspiration increases and decreases. Your eyes actually dilate. If you have the proper measuring device, you can actually measure a change in your voice, in your pre-voice. Excretory system goes into high gear. Digestion completely shuts down. There's some very, very dramatic things that actually take place, and these are measurable things. And the polygraph measures some of these changes, and of course it reduces it to a piece of paper where we read the charts and determine whether or not you're actually telling the truth.
All right.
Looks complicated.
These two components are the pneumographs. There are two convoluted tubes that go around your stomach and your chest, and these measure changes in breathing pattern. This component is the GSR, the galvanic skin response, and that measures changes in perspiration levels. This last component is a cardiograph. We use a standard blood pressure cuff, same type your doctor uses. It goes here on your left arm. And that's going to measure any changes in heart rate, blood pressure, and blood volume at the cuff. Polygraph testing goes back many, many years. I believe it was in the 30s is when they started to experiment with actual instrumentation itself. Of course, you could go back years before that. There's been marvelous improvements since then, obviously. I mean, we're at the point now where we're computerized.
Now I'm going to ask you some questions, and all you have to do is answer yes or no.
Okay.
All right. Let's give it a whirl.
The scene where Robert De Niro's character gives Ben Stiller's character a polygraph test in the garage. This is where they actually attach the components to Stiller's character, and then, of course, De Niro's character asks the questions and so on and so forth. An accurate portrayal of the setting that you would do a polygraph test in, sort of. The components, I think, were attached properly. The questions were not really polygraph questions because during a polygraph test, the examinee does not speak, only to say yes or no to questions.
Did we eat pot roast for dinner tonight?
Yes.
Was it undercooked?
No, it was rare. It was a little rare for my taste.
In the movie, there was a narrative where Stiller was actually making statements and carrying on a conversation. That's not real. But for entertainment purposes, I think it was terrific.
Well, he doesn't need a machine. He's a human lie detector.
What?
The airport scene where Robert De Niro's character actually grasps Ben Stiller's character's hands, and he's asking him questions as if he's somehow testing truth or deception in Stiller's answers to the questions. The portrayal is accurate in that if you were actually feeling someone's pulse, and you could accurately, it would be very difficult to do, you could accurately read or detect, if you will, a change in the pulse rate, then you could say, well, gee, maybe he's lying and maybe he's not, but I would not rely on that. Again, this is entertainment. It makes good movies, but this is not something that we would rely on. When we conduct these examinations, we are touching other people's lives. And if you don't know what you're doing, you shouldn't be doing it.
Now, these aren't 100% accurate, right? They're...
Well, you'd be surprised how accurate they are.
The research on polygraph testing is consistently 97-98% accuracy rate. Consistently. It's a good piece of equipment. It's used every day by thousands of law enforcement agencies, every branch of the military, the FBI, the CIA, all over the world. It really is good science. Personally, I don't think there's a way to beat the polygraph because there's no way to beat your physiology, the autonomic nervous system. Autonomic is a medical term meaning automatic, and when, again, your physiology is working properly, you have no control over those systems. You can't control how much sweat comes out of your pores. You can't control how high or how low your blood pressure is. You're not going to control how many times per minute your heart beats. It's very difficult to control your breathing, and if you do, it's very obvious when you look at the chart that you are trying to do that. So countermeasures, yeah, they can mess up the test to the point where I might have to look at it and say, well, this is inconclusive. But if I know you're practicing countermeasures, then I'm going to figure that you're being deceptive, because why would you do that if you have nothing to hide?
No more lies, you understand? No more lies.
If you're telling the truth, don't be afraid of it, because the polygraph is not going to hurt you. It'll help you. If you're not telling the truth, you have the option to refuse the test. Don't take it. I can't imagine anybody taking a polygraph test if they can't pass it. But they do, day in and day out, with great regularity.